Hello, you're welcome to my channel Skills Learning Network. Welcome to our lesson of today. My name is Mr. Magul, expert in physics, chemistry and biology. So you're welcome to learn with me. The first thing can I share with you is that you can get a video tutorials, you can get no see through with me, you can learn more through this channel, Skills Learning Network. We have physics, we have chemistry and biology concepts, we have school concepts. If you are the reciters or private candidate, you can share with me how to answer practicals, how to learn totally practicals. That is my concern on that. So today we have a lesson of biology form 1, classification of living organisms are the form 1 topics. So you're welcome within this lesson. Okay, biology form 1. Our topic is classification of living things. What do you understand about classification of living things? Here we are going to classify. We have living things different. We have many. Even human beings are living things. We have plants. We have birds. We have worms. There is organisms that live in water. Aquatic organisms, the other terrestrial organisms. Are they same in this group? Can be in one group? So the answer is no. We have to classify these organisms. So that is our topic, classification of living things. This topic is Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and the Form 4. So in Form 1 there is parts are not, there is a concept are not found. They are going to learn another class, or Form 1, Form 2, up to Form 4. But this is the introduction, is very important to you. So let's proceed with our lesson. Classification of living things. What is classification? What is classification? That is a definition question. Classification is a grouping of organisms based on their similarities and differences. So we group according to their differences, similarities. That is how we can group, we can classify organisms. By looking, the birds, there is characteristics, the human being have characteristics, other animals. So we study classification in order to group organisms by looking their similarities and their differences. Which are differ, we put aside on the same group. Which are similar, and then we put aside another group. That is classification. There is a branch of biology deal with the classification. What is that branch? The branch which deal with the classification is called taxonomy. Taxonomy, that is a branch of biology which deal with study of classification of living things or organisms. And the man or the person who study taxonomy is called the taxonomist. Is called it taxonomist. Apart from branch, apart from knowing the definition of classification, that is the meaning of classification, is the system of grouping organisms, the system of sorting. So what is the importance of that classification? The importance of classification, the first is classification make it easier to study and identify organisms. By looking at the similarities and the differences, thus we identify and we study those organisms. That is the first importance. And the second, scientific names makes easier communication among scientists. For example, a human being, the scientific name is Homo sapiens. So that is known by the scientists all over the world. So when you use another terminologies, you can confuse some scientists and you can make communication barrier. So through classification, we suggest specific names of certain organisms, and then we can use through communication of that scientist. When we meet with scientists of America, of Nigeria, that terminologies of scientific names, human sapiens is known. So scientific names makes easier communication among scientists. That is the importance of classification. Number 3, classification enables scientists to make a prediction on characteristics of new discovery organisms. When there is a new organism discovered, there is some features we can predict according to their lives, their life, how they live, how they eat, how they appear, external appearance. We can predict it through classification. So that is the importance of classification. Apart from that, number 3, we have number 4, helps us to remember and understand the organism. Through classification, we are able to identify and we understand that organisms. And number 5, importance is to provide terminologies for easy exchange of knowledge and ideas in research and teaching. When you are going to study classification, there is many terminologies you can discover. So that knowledge we can gain, knowledge you can have many ideas in research and during your teaching. So that is the importance of studying classification. Apart from importances, we have a system of classification, or we have 2 types of classification. The 2 types of classification. The first is artificial classification, and the second there is natural classification. What is artificial classification and what is natural classification? Artificial classification is a system, is a type of classification in which organisms are grouped according to the few observable features. In this artificial, we look few features or external features only. For example, you can see a bat can be grouped to birds due to the presence of wings. Do you know the bat? A bat, they are flying but are not bird. So through external appearance, you can see that this bat is bird because that is animal. So in order to know their groups, you have to go in deep. That is, so by looking external, observe features, few features, that is artificial classification. That is a artificial classification, and it has advantages. We look merits and advantages of artificial classification. Merits. The first is artificial classification. It is based on a simple and easier noticeable features. It is very simple to observe. You can observe, can see that is bird through their wings, through their external features. So there is no complication. It is very simple to not see their features. That is the importance or advantages. Number 2, it can be done very fast. It's only for observation, external, no research needed, no studying in deep, or no studying much. So it's very fast to be done. Number 3, less cost than natural classification. Number 3 is less cost. Artificial classification, no cost are needed much. That is the advantages. Number 4, it is stable and less time consuming. There is no time consuming. That is advantages or merits of artificial classification. There is a demerits. There is a demerits. Apart from advantages or merits, we can see disadvantages or demerits. What is the demerits of artificial classification? Artificial classification, unrelated organisms can be placed in the same group. When you study external with a few observed features, you can put the group which are not correct, which are not true to that group. It means you can mix organisms with different features. So that is advantages of artificial classification. Number two, disadvantages contains limited information. When you say this is animals, you say birds because it has wings. That is limited, no discussion, no need of research. So that is the disadvantages, contain limited information. And number three, it is less accurate. There is no accuracy. There is no truth in such. That is disadvantage. Number four, it has a little or no predictable value in establishing evolutionary relationship. There is no predictable value when you establish relationship in evolution, because you study in a few observed features. That is a disadvantages. It has a little value. Another part or another disadvantage, it is not reliable. It means it varies from, depend on personal interpretation. Can be you can meet with, let's say, a bird, as we have said there before. The birds are flying. The man can say this is a bird. And according to the man interpretation, can have a suggestion according to how they have been observed, their features. So it is not reliable. It depends on the personal interpretation. That is a problem. That is disadvantages. Apart from the merits of artificial classification, let's proceed with the natural classification. What is natural classification? Natural classification is a type of classification whereby the organisms are grouped or being grouped according to external as well as internal features. So this natural based on external and internal features. So we study out and in. That is how classification natural performed. The type of classification whereby organisms being grouped according to the external as well as internal features. The features can be morphological, anatomical, and physiological. So natural classification deals with anatomy, physiology, morphology of that organisms. Animals are placed in their respective groups unlike artificial system. Artificial system you can mix, but in natural, you have to study in deep in order to know each and everything about organisms, and you will group according to a specific group according to their right or accurate features of that organisms, internal and external. That is natural classification. What are the advantages of natural classification? The first advantage is it gives a true idea of a natural relationship between organisms. It provides a true ideas of a natural relationship between organisms. Since you study in deep, you get a truth by looking in deep, by making research. You get a truth about that organisms. You can know how they live, how they reproduce, what are their characteristics, how excrete, how get nutrients. That is natural classification. So you can have a truth of the ideas. The advantage of number 2, organisms are placed in their respective groups. Yes, because since we study in deep, we know their groups according to their features. So we group the insect to a specific insect. Aquatic organism, we place it in aquatic organisms. Terrestrials, we put in their groups, and the plants we put in their plants. That is classification, which is natural. That is the importance. Number 3, it considers evolutionary relationship. Considers evolutionary relationship. That is the importance. We have to observe the natural appearance of that organisms. Number 4, it allows additional information regarding their organism. There is additional information regarding the organisms. That is the advantages of natural classification. Number 5, it is more accurate than artificial classification. It is accurate than artificial classification. It is more accurate than artificial classification. That is the advantages. Apart from advantages, there is disadvantages of natural classification. What are disadvantages? It needs research, so there is advantages and disadvantages. The first disadvantage is it requires a lot of time. You need much time to study organisms, and it needs much money to study, to make research, to make a transport, to find organisms, to go to researcher. That is disadvantages. Number 2, it involves a lot of research and knowledge. It can only be done by a skilled scientist. Anyone cannot do unless there is scientists who can perform that research. So that is the disadvantages. You cannot get the truth by anyone about organisms. So it involves a lot of research and knowledge. It needs much knowledge. Number 3, difficult to learn since it involves many features. You have to study external features and internal features. So there is a difficulties you can get it when you are going to learn. That is a disadvantage. Number 4, it can bring confusion. According to their internal features and the external, there is confusion can appear through their researching or during studying. You can be confused through mode of reproduction, mode of feeding, how they locomote, how they live. Because it needs more knowledge, can be a confusion of that when you are going to group. Let's say like a bat. Is it bird or animals? There is a confusion. And number 5, it is unstable, and it changes with the increase in knowledge. When you make research, you get more knowledge. So it is unstable. That is the disadvantages. There is an update of information about organisms. So when the time is going on, the researcher can come with another hypothesis about the organisms. So it is unstable. That is the merits of natural classification. Our topic is classification of living things. Classification of living things in class form 1. And now that is introduction. So apart from the merits of natural classification, we see the differences between artificial and the natural classification. What is the differences? Artificial classification and natural. The first difference is according to their based on the external features, artificial, but natural consider the internal and external features. Number two, require simple skills. Artificial requires simple skills, but natural require advanced scientific skills. Number three, based on individual views, but natural based on international standards. Number four is less accurate. Artificial is less accurate, but number four, natural is more accurate. That is the difference between natural and artificial classification. I think you have understand. That's the end of our lesson. You can communicate to get notes, to get tutorials, to share with you how can you pass through practicals, how to interact with theory and the practicals, how to answer some questions through examination in practicals. I deal with physics, chemistry, and biology. My name is Mr. Magulu. I'm expert in physics, chemistry, and biology. Welcome with this channel. Subscribe, comment, give us a comment to get a feedback about this lesson. We have many videos you can watch through playlist after subscription. When you subscribe, you get more videos. Share with the others. Welcome again for another time. Thank you for learning with me.